What's up, college baseball fans? Welcome to another episode of the 11.7 podcast. Dimitri and Jack both joining me here today, and we're doing a different style show. We're going to talk Field of 64. I was bored late last night and just filled one out because I love doing it, and we'll talk about it here. We're also going to do listener Q&A questions at the end. People submitted them last night, picked about 5 to 7 really good ones that we'll talk about here. Episodes brought to you by Home Field Apparel. 15% off using promo code CWS25. April is the big month for them. They are going to be dropping a huge college baseball collection, similar to what they did last year, but bigger and better. So go to their website, sign up for their alerts because those things sell out quickly. And it should be happening here in the next week or two. So homefieldapparel.com, 15% off using promo code CWS25. All right, Jack, Dimitri, how you guys doing?
Good.
Dimitri, Italy looks good on you, man. The beard to flow combo's killer. Now, Ben, hit us with the good stuff, Mr. Lenardi. Let's roll.
Yeah, so this is always a fun time. I think we've done it for like the past 6 years where the first week of April, we come out with our first Field of 64. And we haven't posted a graphic or anything yet just because I did this on my own. No consulting with anybody else. And but you can probably expect an official one this week sometime. I did it all by pen and paper. And that's the pen. Oh, shoot. It was a pen.
Yeah.
Couldn't find a pencil, Jack. That's the way I do it.
Did we just get a pen and paper?
Yeah, pen and paper.
Live air.
I don't care. He's wearing a hat. He's wearing the hat, guys. For those at home that feel as disgusting and betrayed as I do.
Yeah, sorry about that.
He's wearing the hat. It's okay. I'm all right.
I know Dimitri works a lot better with computers than a piece of paper and a writing utensil. For me, it might be something that is just still stuck in my head. I can't do a Field of 64 without physically writing stuff down, scratching stuff off, erasing it. I have to do it in a certain way. I've tried to do it like on Excel sheets or Microsoft Word. It doesn't work because I have a whole process. Like I go through each conference and write who I think will be the conference champion, and then I write teams that probably are going to be a 2 seed or a 3 seed or a 4 seed for like a lot of these one bid leagues. And then I go in and rank the teams 1 through 16. And then after that, I basically fill in 1 through 16 on the left side. And then in the 4 column, I go and put those one bid league, like the low RPI teams as 4 seeds and kind of match them up either geographically and also talent based. And then from there, you just kind of work your way from 2 seeds down to 3 seeds. And a lot of it is projected RPI. But my first note, I know Dimitri's about to say something. My first note that I came up with is, and the listeners are going to hate hearing this, the Florida Gators are going to make the tournament, and for several reasons. One, there are 5 teams in the SEC that are 1-8 or worse. Florida, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Missouri, and Mississippi State. There's no way the best league in the country is only getting 11 teams in. Last year, I think they got 12. So that 12th team is going to get in. And there's still a ton of conference play left. But who do I trust the most between Florida, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and Missouri? It's Florida. A little bit lighter of a conference schedule ahead. And they've been battling with injuries. Number 2, and probably the most important, their AD is the commissioner of the selection committee this year. You don't think we're going to see the Florida Gators are getting in this tournament. Strickland is going to make sure that even if Florida finishes 10-20 in conference and they don't hit that 12-win threshold, they're going to get in because of their strength of schedule, their RPI, and he's going to blame it on the injuries. So just get ready for that. They're going to be a 3 seed, probably at like UCLA or something, and they're going to win the regional. That's the bottom line. So,
I mean, to Florida's defense, they are banged up. They are hurt. They're missing, I think, 2 weekend arms, maybe 2 weekend arms, and then another important arm. So I'm not saying Florida's going to get in with 10 SEC wins. What I'm saying is I think they're going to start winning more games, and they're going to beat some good teams. Like Vandy this weekend at home, I could totally see Florida winning that series at home against Vanderbilt. Then they've got Missouri, the 3 wins right there. So that's 5-1. Then they've got Mississippi State on the road. They win that series 7-2. They're almost right back at 500 in the SEC almost.
Right.
So,
So
it happens like this.
even though their conference record says 1-8, they can still turn it around, and they're going to make the turn. Even if they finish 10-20, like I said, their strength of schedule and their injuries are going to be the two combating points, and they will get in over a team like USF or Iowa or USC, Kansas, like some of these potential at-large bids. They will find a way. The second point I want to make is I think Kansas State's going to host a regional, and not only because they're playing well in the Big 12 and in first place, but they have a guy on the selection committee. Like their AD is on the selection committee, and if they're in that 21 to, or I would say like 16 to 21 range in the RPI, and they win the Big 12 regular season or win the Big 12 tournament, you don't think he's going to push for those guys to host a regional in Manhattan? Yeah, right. So,
and now to play devil's advocate like Dimitri did, in their defense, they've kind of played themselves into the conversation fairly this
easily.
go around. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like this go around. Whereas last year they were a borderline team, bubble team, and it was the same conversation as Florida.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to say something that since we're talking about regional hosting and stuff before we move on, guys, the Hawaii regional is dead. It's dead.
They just can't play. They can't play on the mainland.
They can't.
No.
Completely different team.
Can't do
They
it.
did have a 10-run comeback yesterday in the
But
ninth
it
inning.
doesn't matter. You can't be down 10-4 to UC Riverside in the ninth inning with the series on the line. Like, I'm sorry, like it just can't happen, and it's just I'm not very confident that they're going to beat Irvine or Oregon State.
In my field of 64, I did not have the Rainbow Warriors in it. I elected to choose Cal Poly as the second member of that league, and I think it's a 2-bid league. Even though like Santa Barbara could come out and catch fire again, they've lost 3 weekend series in a row in conference play, and that's not good. They lose a series to Long Beach State. But getting back on track here with the field of 64, there was. Oh man. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to read off the committee members. So this year's committee members: Southern Miss. If they're in borderline hosting territory, they're going to host. Jacksonville State. Look, I don't think they have an at-large shot. And there's actually a bigger story about Jacksonville State from this weekend about the forfeit from Liberty. We'll dive into that too. Don't worry. Kent State, Portland, Southeastern Louisiana, Indiana, East Carolina, Florida State, Kansas State, and Florida. So, and as much as people might want to ignore the fact that committee members don't matter, we've seen it. They do. And the world finally caught on this year in basketball when North Carolina's AD was the commissioner and they got in. It's like baseball's been dealing with this for 10 years. It's all politics.
And there's way less eyeballs on baseball's selection show than any other sport. So they can slip in some favors, a little envelope. They can do all that stuff. And the whole idea that the AD of that team, when they're discussing the team, has to go outside the room, that's a load of shit. Get out. Come on.
Yeah, right. But look, I think these are the best way that I did this, and it was impossible seeding like 1 through 8. It was really, really hard. But like Tennessee, Georgia, Arkansas, Texas, LSU, Clemson, Florida State, UCLA, I think are the top 8 teams in the country as of right now. Like behind them, you got Arizona State, Irvine, Bama, Oregon State, Ole Miss, Southern Miss, North Carolina, Kansas State, like even Oklahoma, Auburn, Virginia Tech, sneaky. Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, like some of those teams, like all of those teams I just read are 2 seeds, or not all of them. Starting at Oklahoma, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Arizona, Vandy, Wake Forest. They're all going to be dangerous 2 seeds.
Yeah. Are we going to actually sit here and read off Field of 64? Because I feel like we've done this before. And
No, we're not. It's a teaser for the graphic we'll put out later this week.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna allow you guys to put input as well. This was more of a like a last minute, I'm gonna put this together to like visualize it and see which teams are gonna potentially get in as an at large or bubble teams. And this year the 4 seeds are pretty dangerous. Like imagine having Austin P as a 4 seed, Austin P slash Stetson, one of those two teams. High Point, SEMO, Oral Roberts, Grand Canyon, like they're all gonna be 4 seeds.
I mean, whoever comes out of the Southland is going to be a 4 seed, and they're going to be dangerous too.
Right.
With
And
Southeastern,
yeah, the Southland has UTRGV, Houston Christian, who's 10-2 in conference, McNeese, Southeastern Louisiana, and some. We actually had a listener question sent in about the Southland. Like, is there any way it's a 2-bid league? And I don't think so, but there is a path if UTRGV is their best hope. They have the highest RPI right now and the most quad one wins. So if they can continue to win weekend series and midweeks,
I mean, McNeese is 3 spots behind them in the RPI right now. It's still early. We're not even in April yet, so I don't know why we're doing this. But
yeah, I know.
Well, let me ask you this, Ben, about your field of 64, because I feel like we were talking about it a little bit off air. This idea that the ACC right now is such a jumbled mess that you're right. There could be a 1 seed out of the ACC that you go, well, we saw them lose a couple weird weekend sets versus the SEC, which has been so cannibalistic so far. There are a lot of really good teams at 1-8. Like if you look at South Carolina, you're going a drop pop fly and you win the series against OU. You lose to like there's just a pitch each way, right? So I'm not saying South Carolina is one of those teams. I just more so meant like a Florida or an A&M that's lost 8 conference games by 2 runs or less, right? So if you were to, in your field of 64, of the top 16 regional host sites, who's the most gettable by a 4 seed? Give me your upset at our halfway point. Because last year you had a couple crazy ones.
Yeah, the most gettable one, like I would have Grand Canyon at Arizona State, a 4 versus 1 matchup. And like Grand Canyon, the Lopes could get them. And Southern Miss fans are going to hate to see this, but I had SEMO go into the Southern Miss Regional. And although SEMO hasn't played their best baseball and but we saw what they did last year in that Arkansas Regional. And I think they're better than last year. And then a team like I had High Point going to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like easily gettable for 1 game. Sure.
100%. And this idea too that like if you look at that, like I don't know where you have like a Wake Forest or a Dallas Baptist.
I had both of them as 2 seeds.
As 2 seeds. See, like they scare me more as a 2 than a 1. Because in a 1, they'd be in a loaded regional, and you're going, I've seen them lose really weird weekend sets. Like, and we had talked about this as well. Like High Point last year in that regional against Clemson, like had them on the ropes. You had kind of mentioned you think it's easier to be the 4 than a 2, like than a 3 in a lot of scenarios.
I think the 4 seeds do have an advantage to win a regional because you get your game 1 starter versus their game 1 starter, and anything can happen in those type of games. And then if you win game 1, then your number 2 is facing either the 2 seed or 3 seeds number 2. So it like kind of evens its way out. But I also think, and I've said this last year a lot, I think being a 3 seed is a huge advantage in a regional over a 2 seed because a 3 versus a 2, usually not much separation between the 2 teams. Like one could be playing better or have a better resume, but like you could have somebody like, let me look at mine. You could have somebody like TCU, who I think would be a really good 3 seed against Georgia Tech. That's in this regional. But the thing with a 3 seed is you get to be the home team in game 2 against the 1 seed, assuming they win, because the regional format.
Yeah. Back and forth.
If you were the away team game 1 and the other team was a home team game 1, you flip flop. So game 2 would be that winner's bracket game where the 3 seed is always the home team, unless they changed it recently. I don't think they did. I know there was talks, but in the past, if you're a 3 seed game 1 and you win and you play the 1 seed, you are the home team. So
I can't confirm or deny.
Yep. This would be the most fun regional in the world, by the way. if University of Texas hosts a regional, which they are going to, I assume, it could shape up where Dallas Baptist could be the 2 seed and TCU could be the 3 seed, and like either Houston Christian or UTRGV or Lamar or something. Like you could have an elite all Texas regional because they're all in different conferences now.
That is pretty cool. That is cool to think about now.
Yeah.
The all Texas regionals are always so much fun. Like, wasn't it last year we had Texas and Texas A&M?
No.
Yeah, wasn't it? Super?
Wait.
They definitely played in the postseason against each other.
Did they?
For
Last
sure.
year?
Yeah.
No, because Texas A&M.
Had Oregon and
That
Texas.
was okay. Yeah, it was in the regional. You're right, against
A&M, Oregon,
Louisiana.
Texas.
Yeah, Louisiana Lafayette, Texas, and then I forget who the 4 seed was.
Ben, I think we watched that game together in a hotel.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. That's great.
Hey, so are we going to recap the weekend like Chris Berman style, 5-minute fire off?
What?
Yeah, we can do that. I want to start with the Liberty forfeit over Jacksonville State. This was something I hadn't seen before. I think it has happened a decent bit, but with travel rosters in conference games, you have 27 eligible players, and you have to submit that roster to your conference before Friday. And so Liberty is traveling down to beautiful Oxford, Alabama, Jacksonville State, and they submit their roster to the conference saying, like, these are our 27 guys we're traveling and that we're going to be eligible to play. And they win game 1 against Jacksonville State, and it was a game where like it was back and forth, kind of chippy already, and it was a close game, but Jacksonville State could have won that game. And Liberty wins late, and they're celebrating on the field, blah, blah, blah. Well, for the next day, Jacksonville State realizes, hey, Ben Bailey, he's not on the roster. That's weird. He's their best pitcher this year, like has the best ERA. And is he hurt? Is he injured? Whatever. And they see him warming up in the bullpen before the game. And they're like, is he just throwing a bullpen? Like, is he going to actually pitch this game? And like the more time goes on, they're like, oh, he's getting ready to like pitch. Like, let's double check the roster again so we don't look like idiots. Okay, cool. He's not on it. Bottom of the first comes in. He steps on the mound, throws one pitch, time blue, bring the roster out. He's not listed on the roster. Liberty's coach comes out and is looking at his roster. The home plate umpire has his. The Jacksonville State coach Beezer has his. And shoot, you're right. He's not on our roster. And it results in a one-pitch forfeit. The funny thing is it was a scheduled doubleheader. So they had to wait 30 minutes like a lightning delay before they could play the second game, which was really the only game of the day. And Jacksonville State wins that. There was a yelling match in the second inning between the two coaching staffs. Like, obviously things were boiling over. And it's funny. Like you get – I don't want to compare this to Catholics versus convicts, Miami, Notre Dame back in the day, but you get a school like Jacksonville State that's very blue collar in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, and you get a school like Liberty that has all the money in the world and a very, very private school. And it's like kind of cool that we might see this as a rivalry moving forward, like a big time rivalry amongst two good baseball programs. So that's the 30-second spiel of everything.
Speaking of coaching staff yelling at each other, Michael Early, Nick Mean Jones, Kentucky.
Did you see why that
happened? Shouting match between the two head coaches.
Did you see why that happened?
Something about curfew time. They were stalling or something.
Well, that story is just as in a word almost as crazy as the one pitch forfeit, because I hadn't seen a travel curfew. I thought that was like a big South low mid major thing to get guys on the bus. I didn't know this was happening in the southern. What the hell? Because they were definitely stalling.
Yeah. So here's the background for the listeners. It's 4:28. A&M has 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning they're hitting. The travel curfew is we cannot start an inning after 4:30 p.m. We got flights to catch. We still got to shower, pack our stuff up, go drive to the airport. Because I'm assuming they had to drive to Houston to fly.
Yeah.
I know College Station has a small airport, but I doubt they were flying out of there. So 4:28, there's 2 outs in the 8th inning, pitcher's rolling, catcher calls time, walks out there, pitching coach calls time, walks out there. It's 12U travel ball. Like, hey, we used to do the same thing in travel ball.
Everybody does it.
Yeah, everybody does it. And there was a shouting match between Michael Early, who I think probably had frustration from the previous 30 games of the season.
We got to add an
And
important context here. Kentucky was kicking their ass. It was like 10
yeah, it
to
was
4,
10 to
8 to 2 or something. What was it?
It was
But
10 to
Yeah.
But the Aggies were threatening. Like, let's make that very clear too, though. The Aggies were threatening. They did have runners on. There was 2 outs in the inning when they started. And then Devin Burks, the catcher for Kentucky, is a savvy vet. Pitch comp. Coach, I can't hear you. So he comes off, and that's when things go nuts. But
I saw
dude, it was
this tweet.
nuts.
I don't know how accurate this was, but I saw a tweet that Michael Early told the hitter, whoever was up, to strike out on purpose, just so we can get to a fresh 3 outs in the 9th inning.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know how much trust it was.
highly doubt that he ever said
They
that.
had runners on second and third. Like they were cooking. Which is hypocritical because I saw all this going down, and I joke about like this happening in the Southeastern Conference, for God's sakes. I do know that there are coaches that are not like super stoked with the premise that I like it, and as a viewer, we love it because we're getting network baseball, but like they are doing like a 5 p.m. like linear game every Sunday in the SEC this year. And coaches like, dude, we gotta
Yeah.
get back. So in the SEC, they were supposed to play like a 5 o'clock network game on Sunday, but God forbid the other team can't travel home. Like, I get it because like we've all been on those buses and we've all like gotten back at 3 o'clock in the morning, just have to go take a
But
test Monday morning.
it's not a time thing. It's just a flight thing because if you're on the bus, there is no travel curfew. I'm pretty sure if stated before the weekend, there's no curfew because Wake Forest, Virginia Tech were playing it whatever
Yeah.
time it was on
Yeah.
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock last night.
Dude, it's the SEC though. Like they're flying everywhere. Like then it's gonna exist every
but
weekend.
I can promise you guys this. If A&M was up 10-5,
Yeah, they've been
Michael Early's calling time to talk to his hitter. The hitter's going to tie his shoes. He's going to ask for new batting gloves and pine tar. They're going to be stalling. It's gamesmanship,
100%.
and that's
love
part of the game. So that was another interesting story.
I just have one shout out I want to make sure we bring up before we get distracted. Anything else from the weekend? American Athletic Conference, 2 massive sweeps this weekend. South Florida Bulls sweep a good Tulane team, 5-1 in the American Athletic. They were picked to finish last by D1 Baseball in the AAC Conference. UTSA sweeps a good Florida Atlantic team, completely flipped the American Athletic Conference early in the year, only 6 games in, but keep an eye on those 2 teams. Those are big sweeps. Those are not just whatever sweep. Those are big-time sweeps.
UCSA is playing great baseball right now. They had that midweek win over Texas, and it felt like everything clicked. And since then, I mean, Jack saw them 2 weeks ago in Charlotte. I mean, they're going to be a tournament team. I think the American is better than what people say. And like as a conference RPI, it's getting better by the week. And in fact, let me look right now to see. Well, it might take me a little while to pull this up, but as like a conference RPI.
I have it right here. The American is ranked 8th right now, behind the South in the Conference USA.
Well, 8th out of 29 conferences is usually a multi-bid league. Like you can lose your conference tournament and still make it. And like right now, East Carolina, UTSA, and South Florida, if the season ended today, are all going to make the tournament.
East Carolina, no, but yeah, I get your point.
Right. Here we go. So this week, I think it's separated Tier 1 from Tier 2 a little bit more clear as far as top teams in the country and then teams that could get to Omaha but probably wouldn't win it all. And it starts with Tennessee's sweep over South Carolina, Georgia's sweep over who was it? Auburn. Arkansas sweeps at Vandy, and then Texas obviously sweeps Missouri and like blows them out every game.
But you know what? A road sweep at Missouri as the top 10 team in the country is not easy. It happens once a year where Missouri
Yeah.
beats some top 10 team in the country at home. They've done it like every year, the last 3 or 4 years.
Right, and, like, I think all of those teams kind of put themselves in a different category. Now it would be a shame if we didn't mention the other conferences like the ACC and the Big 12, but, like, well, first of all, Clemson at Georgia Tech was the best series of the weekend, visually
Yeah.
wise. You got to see star power, and guys that are very talented, that future major league players, and it was back and forth. Clemson scores 2 runs in the top of the ninth in the rubber match, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2 in the top of the ninth after Drew
Uh,
Burress hits a
bottom of
go-ahead
the
on the do what?
bottom of the eighth, Drew Burress hit a
Yeah,
go ahead home run. Top 9, Clemson retook the lead and then slammed the door bottom 9.
slam the door. And I think it tells me more about Georgia Tech being a legit threat this year versus Clemson not being as good. I thought all around it was a great series. So, I would still put Clemson in the tier 1, and I would put Florida State in the tier 1 with those SEC powerhouses. LSU's up there as well. Now, there's a couple teams that I think I wanna add. Like, if you think of tier 1, I would say 12 teams is probably the right number, and
Wait, what?
UCLA
Who? Oh, okay.
UCLA deserves to be in the conversation of a team that could win the national championship. And it might sound crazy because they play in the Big Ten, but these guys, they're fast, they're big, they're strong. It's constructed like an SEC roster. And I don't have their exact record pulled up, but I can.
22.
UCLA 22-5, 10-2 in the Big Ten.
Yeah, 22-5. They have wins at Maryland, sweep over Nebraska, series win against Indiana, and a sweep against Purdue. They're sitting at number 4 in the RPI right now. The I I don't know how to explain it other than they passed the eyeball test.
I mean, they looked great. I've watched the full game of theirs against UC Irvine. They looked great. So, I mean, the eyeball test is there. They've had the size, they have the power on the mound, and they play fundamental defense, like most UCLA teams do.
Yeah, they're just more offensive this year than in years past. They're not playing West Coast baseball anymore. So I wanted to give some love to UCLA.
Hey,
Oh,
hey, are you buying or selling Wake Forest?
well, they get swept at home against a red-hot Virginia Tech team. I don't know. I think I'm holding. Whatever stock I had in Wake Forest, which I picked them to go to Omaha, I'm not buying or selling more. I'm holding one more week. Maybe it was a bad week for the Deacons, and maybe the Hokies were just on fire, which it looked like. But that's an interesting question. I don't know.
I think it's more indicative of the ACC as a whole right now. Like it's just drunk. It's so drunk. Like
Mhm.
Virginia with a really nice bounce back series, like they go get their sweep to like kind of get back in the like the fold of it. They're 6-6 in the ACC. Like you just don't know what you have. Right? Like Florida State and Clemson have kind of separated themselves. Georgia Tech at 8-4 at the top of the conference. Virginia Tech has won 5 straight, but if you really watch that series, like you're probably not super sold on their starting pitching, but their offense looks great. Duke with a nice series win over NC State. NC State's playing better baseball, but like you have a reason to not trust in any of those teams, but also a reason to go, hey, I can see the silver lining with a lot of those teams as well. So I just think the ACC is a drunken mess, and you don't really know what you have quite yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at the standings right now. It
Don't,
is
don't
completely the
sleep.
opposite of the SEC, where
Yeah.
right now there are 13 teams at 5-7 or better. So like 1 game below 500 or 2 games below 500 in conference play. There's a ton of teams. North Carolina and Virginia both at 6-6. Louisville, North Carolina State 5-4. Duke, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech 7-5, and then Clemson 6-3. Georgia Tech 8-4. Florida State 7-2. Like I honestly like between North Carolina and Virginia, I would still say that they belong up there with the Florida States and the Clemsons and those teams.
Yeah.
But like you're right, and like, where the SEC is very top heavy. You get a lot
Yeah.
of teams that are 1 loss, 2 loss, and then a bunch at 1-8 or 0-9.
And
It's
yeah. And I don't, it makes it easier to judge, right? Like from a pundit standpoint, we can sit back and go, well, these teams have played well, these teams have not. Whereas in the ACC, I say mess is probably the wrong um, description for it. Like but there's been no rhyme or reason. Like we've waited for a couple teams to separate themselves, and they've gotten like Wake getting swept at home was crazy with how well they played at Clemson,
yeah.
right? Like the road and home splits don't even equate to how good a baseball or poorly that they have played. Yeah, it's like to your point, Ben, it's like we're just going to trust the brand. We're going to trust the coaches, right? Like I trust Oak at Virginia to figure out more though than the guys in front of them. 6-6, but you're only a couple games off of that top spot. I'll take the guys that have been there and done that.
For
I
sure.
mean, Virginia's coming off a home sweep against Stanford. Like that's a good series sweep. That's a big time
They
series.
dominated that series.
They did. The offense finally woke up, right? Like they pour in like double digit runs to us. Like they finally looked like the offense we kind of expected, which is
Mhm.
it's awesome. It doesn't matter. Play your best baseball when the weather's warming up and you'll be ready to roll.
Yep. A couple other notes here that I have written down. Campbell, the Camels, out of the CAA, 4 straight weekend series wins against Charleston, UNCW, UConn, and Texas State. They're 13-4 on the season, so still below 500 because they got off to a rocky start. But Chris Marks, the new head coach there, taking over for Justin Hare. He's one of those guys that is highly respected in the industry and is a winner through and through. And you don't want to go down to Boys Creek right now. The Campbell is rolling. Did not see them winning 4 straight weekend series against Texas State, UConn, UNCW, and Charleston.
Speaking of Hare, got his first top 10 series win over Oregon at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Maybe that team is another team that can turn things around as we head to the second half of the season.
Well, it was a bad week for Oregon schools. Oregon and Oregon State both lose weekend series. Oregon State loses to Nebraska. Oregon loses at Ohio State. And, like, I don't know how much to read into it. I still think Oregon State is a national championship contender, but Nebraska was a school preseason. A lot of people loved them and thought that they would be good. Injury bug hits them. McConaughey goes down. Maybe Nebraska could be a frisky second half team and get back into that at-large berth area.
Yep.
Isn't it fitting though that for Justin Hare, his first Big Ten weekend series wins, like they were defeated at the point 0-7 or 0-6 going into that series, and his first wins are against a top 10 team. Like it just felt kind of fitting for him.
Baseball.
It's the best.
Let's talk Big 12 here a little bit. Kansas sweeps Oklahoma State. The hog was barking or what do they say? Cranking the hog out in Kansas.
Is that what they call it? Cranking the hog?
Yeah, I think their stadium's like Hogland Stadium. But that was like a weird shift in power in the Big 12 because Kansas used to be run through back in the day in baseball, and Oklahoma State powerhouse. Now Oklahoma State's sitting at 1-6 in the Big 12, and not a lot of upside to think about. They got a lot of question marks. So let's see. Anything else here from the weekend?
Arizona State, Arizona, Kansas State, TCU, even West. Don't forget about West Virginia.
Yeah,
the Big 12. The Big 12 got a lot of potential going into the second half of the season.
I know. I said Georgia Tech and Clemson was the series of the weekend, but I really enjoyed the Alabama versus Oklahoma series. I think Alabama ended up sweeping it, but it had 2 out of 3. No, are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rubber match yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Could have been. I don't know why I was thinking
it was a rubber match yesterday.
The series was back and forth. It was all 3 games were tight. Yep, I pulled it up. Alabama wins 8-6 on Friday, and it had like a super regional atmosphere to it. Weather wasn't great, but just back and forth. Like good pitching, good hitting. And then Saturday, Oklahoma wins, scoring 2 runs in the 9th. And then yesterday, Oklahoma was down 8-1 in the 5th inning and made it 8-6 with like runners in scoring position potentially to tie it. I think it solidifies Alabama as a team that could be up in the conversations with the Tennessees and Georgias and Arkansas of the world
Yeah.
because they also beat
I
Tennessee
think
on Friday.
Alabama for sure have a valid argument to be grouped up with those teams. They gave Tennessee everything they could handle. I mean,
Yeah.
better team won, but I think Alabama's right up there.
Can I propose another series that I actually had a lot of fun watching this weekend in the SEC? We've talked about how it's like super top heavy right now. Mississippi State gave everything LSU could handle at the box. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys watched that series, but they had the one game that didn't end until 3 o'clock in the morning. I got some buddies that are like beat reporters, like at local stations in Baton Rouge, that were there till like 5 a.m. covering the damn game, like doing live shots for the morning show. Like, they lose on Friday night after they go up. LSU's got a storm back, and they just had some bullpen struggles. They lose Saturday, that late night game 2-1, and then Sunday the game kind of gets run away from them. But they're sitting at 1-8 in the SEC. Everyone's barking about the Dogs. I think that they're a team. If you look at their upcoming schedule, South Carolina at home, at Bama, Florida at home, at Auburn, and then Kentucky and Ole Miss. Like, not to say that's favorable, but they avoid the Tennessees and they avoid like the Georgias. Like, they feel like a team that if they go on a little run, they can get to 12 wins in the SEC. Go, okay, cool. They're back in the fight a little bit, because it was actually a really competitive series against LSU, even though the sweep kind of indicates that it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of buzz. Like, people want Lamonis out at Mississippi State, but I'm pulling up their schedule. You look at their losses. 3-run loss at Southern Miss in the midweek. 1-run loss against Troy in the midweek. 1-run loss against Arizona at the Astros Foundation Classic. 1-run loss at Texas. 2-run loss at Texas. 3-run loss at Texas. 2-run loss at Oklahoma. 2-run loss at LSU. 1-run loss at LSU.
But
And then
that,
one
but,
loss.
but that's how far the standard has fallen for Mississippi State after the national title. We're sitting here talking about, wow, those are good losses. Mississippi State shouldn't be sitting here talking about good losses.
To
I'm
me,
not
it's
saying good losses. I'm saying they're not bad losses.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not a good. It's not
matter.
about even. For me, it's not about being a good or bad loss, right? Like, to me, it's more so if a pitch here or there goes their way, and I think it's about to go their way. Like, that's my point. Like, I think they're about to go on a run, in my opinion. Like, I've seen the pieces. Hunter Hines is breathing down the neck of breaking Will Clark's home run record down there. Like, he's a bona fide dog. They got the kid, Club Omaha legend, Ace Reese, is tearing it up in the SEC right now. Like, he's a beast. Guy like Sawyer Reeves, who I covered in Charleston, like, they've got really fun veteran pieces. Noah Sullivan's at like 380 from USC Upstate for him. They've got older guys that I don't think are, I don't want to say distressed, but like, I don't think that they're allowing these losses to like overwhelm them. And I think they're one of those 1-8 teams in the SEC that's going to go, all right, cool. Like, we got all the 50-50 ones out of the way. Now it's our turn to go on a run. I think, to your point, Dimitri, yes, I don't think that they're okay with these losses. I just think they're about to start playing really good baseball, because I'm looking at it going.
Four. It's year 4. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. It's year 4.
Yeah.
They've already missed the tournament twice, twice.
They were a borderline. They were a borderline host team last year. I thought they were a borderline host team last year. The team that Ben and I saw in Hoover was a hosting worthy team.
Right.
They were good.
I mean, I get there's bright pieces to look at, but it's Mississippi State. You shouldn't be having to look this deep. You know what I mean? That's what
I'm not looking deep. I'm just saying, when they go on a run, I told you so. That's what I'm really trying to do.
Hey, I told you so. The A&M was going to suck this year. You guys didn't want to believe me. Hiring Michael Irvin mistake. I told you guys that 9 months.
Nice, ago. Low hanging for a good shot. Way to knock it out of the ballpark with that one.
You know what's crazy? The amount of hate I got. Oh, no. You got to keep your lineup. You got to keep your pieces together. So many people were giving me so much shit. I was just like, I don't think they're going to be very good. You don't bring a first-year head coach in the SEC. It's just, you just can't do that. And we've already talked about this. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But it's when you know, you know. Like, that's my point with Lamonis.
You don't know. It's been 2 months, and Lamonis won a national championship. First year head coach in the SEC won a national championship.
Yeah, I mean, but I just feel like when there's that feeling, when like, I like Lamonis. I think he's good, but he was great at Indiana, but I just don't think he's got what it takes to ignite that team and I don't know. He's not the right CEO for Duty Noble Field. Is what I'm thinking. But I could be wrong. I don't think so.
They do have a favorable schedule down the stretch. They end with 3 against Missouri. They also play like Kentucky and Ole Miss is like their last 3 weekend series. So if they can go 6-3 there, you start doing the math. Like they only have to get about 5 more wins. Like they could get into the tournament.
Oh, they're
They'll be
getting
fine.
there.
But let's do the listener Q&As now. We'll do this for the next 20 minutes or so, and then get on out of here. So first one, this one was emailed, so I don't want to say his name, but he said two big West related questions. Over under 2.5 teams make a regional. So right now, like Irvine's a lock, and then you have Cal Poly, Hawaii, UC Santa Barbara, who I think are all capable of getting to a regional. If I had to bet, I would say under. I don't think we're going to get to 3 unless Santa Barbara goes nuclear. They had a good non-conference schedule and played well, but
Under for sure.
I would say under. But like, let's think about it. What if Cal Poly and UC Irvine dominate the regular season, and then somebody like Santa Barbara wins the tournament? Because this is the first year they'll have a tournament. It does leave the door open for a third team.
But I'm never going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Big West. They get disrespected year in and year out. I'm not. I don't think this shit changes that. I think the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12 and the Big 10 are going to clog up those bubble spots. Big West is going to get screwed out, just like the Southland will get screwed out, just like the American, just like all the non-Power 4 teams are going to get screwed out. So under, give me 2 teams.
Yep. And then this next question is very similar. Would you like to see a 2-bid, possibly more Southland Conference with how strong the teams look, or is that just hope/delusion from a fan? So from Caleb. I don't think the Southland can get 2 in. Their only hope, like I said, is like UTRGV goes or somebody goes nuclear in the regular season and then loses the tournament.
Why do you keep saying UTRGV? McNeese is 2 spots behind him in the RPI right now.
Well, they're the best team in the conference in the RPI. I don't know. I think they have the best.
I think it's a 1-bid league. 1-bid league.
They have the best wins. Well, McNeese also has played like 5 less games than everybody else for some reason.
Yeah, and they didn't even play this week, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Anyway, I'd say 1. Jack, what do you say?
Yeah, it's
1. It's 1 until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
The next question is from our dear friend Noah Benick. He replied on Twitter. Would you guys watch a college baseball NIT tournament? I know I would. All the games should be during the midweek after regionals weekend and before the College World Series games. Noah, let me tell you about summer ball. Let me tell you about how important summer ball is to these kids. There will never be a college baseball NIT tournament because those teams will not care. Those players will not care. They're going to go play in the Northwoods League or the CPL or the Cape Cod, and like they're going to try to improve their draft stock with a wood bat. That's bottom line.
And if you're not getting that many innings or AB, why the hell do you want to stay on campus for another week?
Yeah, that's another thing. They would have to pay to stay on campus. Like the schools would have to pay for that. That'll never happen.
It would never happen, but if let's dream a little bit. Don't do like a full NIT bracket. Just do like how like Junction has become famous for the Junior College World Series. Let's find one site that's crazy enough to pull it off. And then we do just like an Omaha 8, we'll do an NIT 8. And then you just go in and out quick like that. One, just like no double elimination, just beat a team and let's roll this thing. Honestly, if I were to dream, it would be fun.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I'd even watch or even care.
You wouldn't watch. You wouldn't watch Austin P versus Hawaii on a Tuesday after the regionals. I'd watch the hell out of that. I'd work those games for free.
I'd rather watch college baseball all-stars versus team.
That's what I would rather. I would rather see an all-star game or all-star tournament, something along the home run derby for sure. That needs to happen again. But yeah, I'd rather watch an all-star game. That would be way more fun.
Coaches.
Next question comes from Dakota Campbell. Does the last weekend series between Tennessee and Arkansas decide the SEC?
Wait, what? They're in the West. Arkansas is in the West.
No, there is no more East-West.
Doesn't matter. There's 16 teams. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
There is no East-West anymore.
Really? Where? How did I miss that?
When they added the 2 teams, it just became a shit show.
I think it's too early to tell. There's too many teams, LSU, Texas, Georgia, like they're very much they could easily win the SEC regular season.
I think
I would like
Georgia.
to hope so. That would be awesome to
I
see
think
Arkansas
Georgia's
versus
got-
Tennessee.
Wait, doesn't Georgia have Texas this weekend? Arkansas next weekend?
Yeah, Georgia's got a tough task coming ahead.
If they get through that, they'll sleep on the dogs.
Yep.
Yeah.
They at Texas and then against Arkansas. So 6 games for the Dogs there.
I'll answer yes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Tennessee or Arkansas has a chance to win it. But whoever wins or loses that series could help a Georgia or somebody else to win it.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Next question from Sean Monroe. Who is the best shortstop in the ACC with the last name Lodis? Alex or Kyle?
The one that had E in it.
What?
Jack got it.
Oh, they both have E in it. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy what those two guys are doing, man. Like one's hit the guy Alex from Florida State is hitting 473 with 11 homers, and then Kyle from Georgia Tech has 12 homers, hitting 400, and he also has like 15 doubles. I think he's second in the nation in doubles. Crazy what the Lodi's cousins are doing.
We'll see them in action in a couple of weeks, I think, against each other.
Yep. Why does Jack and Dimitri absolutely hate Razorback baseball? This is from B-Dub's $3 Wild Herd Big Mike.
What?
Why do you guys
Yeah,
think? Why do you guys think the
I
Razorbacks?
love Arkansas baseball. I don't know why. Why did he? Where did he get that from?
I thought for sure that sentence was going to be, why do Jack and Dimitri hate each other? And I would have said, no.
That'd be a better
No.
question.
It's
No.
love. Brothers got to fight. I don't hate Arkansas. I want to go see him. I think I'm going to make a trip to Fayetteville here soon. Beat up Mike. You want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings together in Fayetteville? I'll see you there.
Aren't you? Wait, hold on. I'm going to be playing spoiler here. Aren't you guys supposed to go there for home field?
We were supposed to last weekend, but it never came through.
Open the 17th. That's what I got my eyes set on the 17th. Once
Yeah,
we get
we'll
March
take a
Madness,
trip
this
out there.
boring ass basketball tournament behind us will be good.
Dimitri,
Yeah,
this is from
March
Eric
Madness.
Nero. Dimitri, what can we do to turn this around? And when he says we, he means Miami baseball.
I mean,
What's step number 1?
snip, 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 snap. Go hire an outsider and hire an outsider to run this baseball program. Fire everybody, clean house, start over. Get rid of the coaching tree of Jim Morris and move on. It was great while it lasted. Now you just keep grasping at straws. I think Miami is going to always have the players, but we all know having a roster full of great players can only get you so far. Texas A&M probably got one of the most talented rosters in the country. You need people that can get the most out of them. Max Wiener and Schlossnagle did that, and I think people are realizing how good of a coach Schlossnagle is and how important it is. And Max Wiener got the most out of their pitcher. It matters. Coaching matters. Full staff matters. Analytics, everything. It all matters. And Miami, they're not getting the most out of their players. They're always going to have great players down in South Florida. But yeah, you got to look at face it in the mirror and realize we're not going anywhere with what we've got here. So yeah.
Good answer.
Good question.
This one's from Chris. Any new merch plans? Maybe something FSU related? ?
When we did the defend their stadium series, it was really difficult for me to art up or mock up a bunch of Seminoles. Like it just didn't look right. It just didn't look like I don't know. I can't go too in depth with it, but it just didn't look right, and I couldn't do that. So maybe we'll come up with our next series of things, and I'll drop those. But Florida State definitely needs something.
Yeah, agree with that. Good decision. Next one's from Matt Mortka. You're starting a new college program. You can pick any coach, stadium, conference, fan base, and traditions. Who and what are you choosing?
That's a good question.
Let's do this as a group. Who's our coach?
Okay. Tony Vitello or Jay Johnson. Flip a coin.
No,
I think I'm going with Old Reliable and going with either Sully or Schlossnagle.
Schloss was one of my picks. Vitello or Schloss?
Vitello's, you can't go wrong with that answer.
I want my program being led by Tony V. Give me Tony V.
Tony V. Okay. Stadium.
The dude.
I love.
I was in Columbia this weekend, man. Founders Park is like a legit like AAA ballpark. It's gorgeous.
You know what? I actually don't like that. I don't like when college stadiums are too
big and pretty. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
like
Yeah, it
metal
is. Yeah.
bleachers and just like weird, like just nothing. I like non-symmetrical, just random seating.
That's why Alex Box doesn't need to change. I hope they don't announce some $2 trillion stadium renovations at Alex Box, because the bleachers being the way they are, the kind of pieced together over the years, leave it like that. That's college baseball. Same thing with Rosenblatt. Like that wasn't the World Series, not some vanilla ass professional ballpark.
Right.
But
Stadium though. That it's tough. I think there's a few that I'm not going with like the popular crowd. Like I said, I don't love the commercialized. Like obviously Duty Noble special, the box and those. I'm thinking like give me.
Ben, I have an idea. Yeah, I have an idea here because this is such a good question. Matt's an OG Club Bromaha guy. Let's go rapid fired. Let's don't think, just throw. Snake draft. You start it.
No. Let's do it as a group.
Well, this will be a great graphic. This will be a great graphic, and see who's the winner.
We'll do that. We'll do that off air, but for on air, let's just do it collectively.
Okay. I want to draft a coach player. That'd be fun.
I'm thinking of West Coast, like one of those like Arizona State, or I love Long Beach's, like the way their field looks on the broadcast. I know they're not big, but
we could do Pepperdine, ocean in the outfield, mountains to the back.
I'm deciding.
Let's go.
I think I would choose.
And here, Mississippi State, I can't take because I don't like the way their outfield, the fly ball, their field looks small. It reminds me of East Carolina too. I don't like that, the way that look, but their backdrop or their stadium, I love it. Tony Vitello needs to be coaching, running a team in the stadium of.
I have an answer that I like, and it's commercialized, but not a ton. I think Clemson might be my answer there.
That's a good one.
I like Clemson Stadium a lot.
We got to get rid of the Hill, though.
No, I like the Hill. Give us a home field advantage.
So when Minute Maid Park had the Hill, were you sad that day they took it out?
Yes.
I was sad
that day.
OG.
All right. Tony Vitello, Clemson Tigers. What is it? Kauffman Stadium? No, not Kauffman.
Doug Kingsmore.
Kingsmore.
What fan base and what traditions?
Arkansas fan base, maybe. Because I think they have golf club, country club proper etiquette vibes, but they are rowdy. Tennessee fans, just absolutely not. They're just too much.
I'm taking Southern Miss fan base. I just want them to just destroy people online.
That's fair.
Dude, like
Dimitri's not going to disagree with you.
Yeah,
he's gonna come get you. Oh.
Give me Arkansas fan base. I like that fan base.
And then what conference are we playing in? I assume the SoCon. Tony Vitello coaching the SoCon at Clemson Stadium.
The SWAC.
The SWAC.
Just dominate the SWAC every year.
No, he's a Fun Belt guy. This is a Fun Belt pod.
Fun Belt it is.
Yeah, Fun Belt. Did you see what we just did? By the way, we all just did a draft. We basically all just picked our mind, by the way.
Yep. All right, let's do two more questions here. I lost my spot, so I don't remember where I was. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Oh, name a squad or two. This is from Mr. Pearson Wade. Name a squad or two that could be a perfect hot, cold, hot contender this year. Maybe they started blazing hot and seem to cool off right around now with the potential of a blazing hot finish. Love that question.
Can we? I don't think.
Have you seen Texas's upcoming schedule? Like, I could see them being a team that like maybe struggles in the middle part of the season, and everyone's like, man, not yet. I mean, they got Georgia, Kentucky, Auburn, A&M, and I think that like you look at that and you're like, oh, those aren't the best teams in the SEC, but all those teams are fighting for their lives right now. Texas is really comfortable. I could see them being a hot, cold, hot team.
Let me just clarify. Hot, cold, hot means February and March hot, April cold, May hot.
Yeah.
Middle of May into June hot. So we're basically predicting who is going to be cold in the month of April.
I have the perfect answer. I think it's going to be the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Oh, but
they already went cold.
Team that started like 14-0 with wins against at East Carolina, Kansas State, Texas Tech, and then they lose 2 out of 3 to Stanford, Louisville, and then now they're back on the right path. Back-to-back series wins. Is it too early though for the
It's
cold?
too early. That's what I'm saying. It's too early.
But they also they didn't sweep. Like they still aren't playing their best baseball. Like they didn't sweep Boston College or Miami. They only won 2 out of 3.
They weren't hot enough. They weren't hot enough for long enough. You got to be cold in the month of April. You just got to be cold.
Okay.
That's why.
I think a team like
a team somewhat,
Florida's too early. Florida's too early too.
Like Oregon State maybe gets cold here for a little bit, losing last weekend to Nebraska, and then I mean they were red hot to start the year. Maybe they lose this series. They play at Irvine next weekend. They're at home against Irvine. Maybe they lose that series, and then
wait, we've got Irvine, Oregon State this weekend.
Oh yeah,
baby.
I got one. I got one for you. Let's get weird. I like doing the projecting thing. I like my Texas pick facing a bunch of teams that are fighting for their lives with not as much like name threshold. Another team that's similar to that in the ACC, Clemson has been everyone's darling, and I think Clemson. I love my pick for them to get to Omaha. They go to Cal, weird weekend. Then you've got Stanford at home. Don't know a lot about them and who they are, what they do. Then Louisville, NC State in the month of April. Clemson goes 500 during that stretch. They drop down into like the 20s or late teens. And then all of a sudden, like Backett just got him right for postseason play.
This one's from PBR Jaron Purify. Shout out Purify. We love him here on the pod. What fan base would you like to see in Omaha that hasn't been in the last 10 plus years? I mean, is this just like a Clemson question?
I was going to say Clemson.
Yeah, Clemson.
I think this was just setting up for Clemson. South Carolina hasn't been since 12, right? Or 13 12. Maybe.
Hey, 12. Speaking of South Carolina, you guys see that little clip of Paul Manieri?
He looks miserable, dude.
Guys, hold on. Can we just make up some funny scenario of why he was doing that? He looks so miserable. Is it something that happened on the field? Is it he's like, why the fuck did I take this job? This is too much work. I was enjoying retirement. Like, what is it?
I have a hot take that I don't know if I want to say on air.
Say it on air.
I think that South Carolina job will be depending on how they finish. I think it could be Skylar Meade's job by June. If Troy somehow makes a regional or makes a super regional run, he's been there before. He's coached there before. I think that would add the excitement, a Tony Vitello type hire of go take the keys to South Carolina.
What if Rob Vaughn jumps ship to Texas A&M? Skylar Meade takes the Alabama job.
I don't think Rob Vaughn's jumping ship right now. Yeah, I think he's loving where he's at.
And I think Alabama can compete with A&M in terms of resources.
Yeah.
I don't understand why anybody would
better at every sport than them right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why would they think otherwise?
Well, I mean, like A&M actually has unlimited resources. That school is a cult and has tons of money, and they can find ways to get money. But I think Rob Vaughn is loving where he's at right now. I just think
Mead,
Maneri will
South
step down
Carolina.
at the end of this season, and I think South Carolina, Ray Tanner, and those people in the athletic department are gonna look around and be like, "Who's the best guy?" And all signs are gonna point to their former pitching coach of Skylar Mead.
Skylar Mead to the cock, Columbia. I like that. They would be rowdy, and he would ignite that fan base again. Let those players be emotionful on the field and stuff. I think I like that, but there's no way Paul Manieri. He's too prideful. I don't think he steps down after 1 year. It's a 2-year project minimum.
Look at his body language pretty much
It was bad,
the
man.
season. He needs to like go enjoy retirement. I think he was a filler hire. Like, hey, we need somebody that has won before and can, like, I don't know, build the foundation of a program for a couple years until we find the right guy. And
Do you think?
he's not somebody that you need to like keep around too long.
Do you think it was one of those hires where they were just like, Kingston's got to go. We got to fire him, but we're not really sure who we want. So let's just get Manieri until it was basically they were unprepared. I think is what happened.
Yeah,
but it happened pretty fast, right? They hired him pretty fast, didn't they?
I don't
I don't
remember.
remember.
They hired him. Yeah, they did. They hired him when Omaha was still going on.
Yeah. So I mean, that video said a lot about Paul.
Yeah.
He is like, fuck, dude. I did not sign up for that.
You guys want to do you want to pick the weekend series here for this next week, and then we'll hop off. I forgot we need to do that. It's always so much fun.
Do it.
Let me make sure we're not picking the Thursday series. Like Duke, North Carolina is Thursday, LSU, Oklahoma Thursday, Ole Miss, Kentucky Thursday, BYU, TCU Thursday. So the rest are free game. Well, that's weird. I thought I was sharing my screen because we are at the exact same point right now.
Oh.
All right, let's go to Friday. And remember, start at the bottom. The bottom is where the best
I was
series
just looking at Thursday real quick. We're not doing any of these ones, are we?
Should we do the Iron Bowl?
Thursday.
I think the Iron Bowl's got to be a yes.
I like that.
Wait.
The Iron Bowl.
We're not doing any Thursday, right?
Let's go with the easiest series in the world that are like
Wait,
a lot for yes, or Georgia at Texas.
Come on, we're not doing any of the Thursday ones, are we?
No Thursday.
Okay, thank you. Jesus Christ.
I said no already.
We said it like 6 times.
No, you didn't. All right,
yes, we did. Fuck.
All right, so Georgia at Texas and Irvine at Oregon State are automatic yes locks. Let's go.
Must.
Arizona at Arizona State. Any interest there?
Arizona State.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll put it on the probably list.
I'm kind of over Wake and Florida State. Like that's a top 20 matchup, but people are going to want it. But I feel like people are just going to hammer Florida State at home. So that'll be kind of one-sided.
If Stanford would have won that series against Virginia, that would have been a great nerd matchup. Georgia Tech, Stanford.
Good nerd matchup. That's funny.
I'm looking. There's not a ton.
Western Kentucky, Dallas Baptist.
Yep, that's got to be on there.
That's a good one. If UConn was better, Creighton and UConn would be fun. But
Xavier, baby.
We want Alabama and Auburn.
Alabama.
That's what I was saying. The Civil War.
Yeah, Iron Bowl.
That's
Iron
Bowl.
That's about possible.
Preseason, we would have absolutely have done Texas A&M at Tennessee. Now,
that's where I'm going to be this weekend.
Dude,
do we want to do Missouri State at Southern Illinois? Battle of first place for the Missouri Valley? I'm going to write it on maybe list.
Maybe. How about Campbell Northeastern? Campbell at home. Campbell Northeastern would be a fun one.
I do like that. I do like that. Hmm. Oh, it's at Campbell. I wrote it down wrong.
Damn, FAU at East Carolina would have been great if they would have won that UTSA series.
Yeah.
That's still going to be a good series. I still think FAU is a good team. Ben, Sanford, Wofford, no.
Virginia, NC State, maybe?
No. All right, hold on. Let me see how many we have. Georgia, Texas, lock. Irvine, Oregon State, lock. Arizona, Arizona State, lock. Western Kentucky, DBU, lock. So we have 2 open spots.
Hmm.
I think we've got them all written down. We got to pick between Bama, Auburn, Missouri State.
Bama, Auburn. Yeah, Bama, Auburn has to. Yeah, that's a yes.
All right. So we got one more. Kansas State, Oklahoma State, no. Purdue, Ohio State, USC, no.
Wait, I have 6 written down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 written down.
Yeah, so do I. But we have one open spot. 5 of them are locked in.
So Georgia and Texas, UC Irvine, Oregon State, Arizona, Arizona State, Western Kentucky, Dallas Baptist, Alabama, Auburn. So let's pick between Missouri State, Southern Illinois, or Northeastern Campbell.
And you know what? I don't really like either one of those. Like I like Michigan, Oregon more for some reason. You know what I mean? Like there's some of these other ones that I like better.
People will camera Oregon. Like that's gonna be one-sided picking.
Yeah, you're right.
I think Northeastern at Campbell gives us our best shot at a 50-50 series. Northeastern has been the better team all year. Campbell is at home, and they've won 4 straight series. And, like, they're below 500. So if somebody's not doing their research and they just see 13-14 Campbell, they'd probably pick Northeastern.
Did you say Virginia? Yeah, I think so. Or taking like a Virginia to NC State, like kind of like a gut check series for both of them, like something that we'd like the
Georgia Tech
pickers gonna be screwed.
Georgia Tech Stanford would be the perfect ACC series. Could have asked Stanford.
Yeah, I don't love that. Let's do Northeastern and Campbell.
Mid-major love.
Those are 2 teams that either one of them in our mid-major top 25?
No.
Mm-mm. The winner gets into the top 25. That's what you'll make it. Winner of that series gets into the mid-major top 25.
No, Campbell. I mean,
they've been
maybe Northeastern. I mean, they just had that rough weekend against Hawaii on the island, and
they've been awesome.
And they've been great ever since.
Mike Lavin's a beast.
I mean, they play some dog shit teams, but whatever.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, Stony Brook, Towson, and Merrimack and Harvard are not the Tennessees of the world.
I didn't say that they were Tennessees, but you said you just blanketed their whole schedule.
I said ever since after the Hawaii series, they've been good against bad teams. San Diego State 9-19, Harvard 2-18, Merrimack, Bryant, Towson, UConn, Stony Brook.
You took away they're like fun non-cons. It's not fun.
Anyway, all right. So what are we picking?
Northeastern and Campbell.
Boom.
Right.
And then do you guys want to quickly go through the midweek? Pick an upset?
Yep.
Yeah.
I see a lot of upsets this midweek. Telling you right now. I see 4, maybe 5. This dude.
I see Queens over Georgia. That's what you're thinking that one too, right?
Just go to the top 25 only, like that spreadsheet. Look at
Mercer's gonna beat Georgia Tech on Tuesday.
Mercer, Georgia Tech. Like
In
Indiana,
Macon, right?
Louisville is always a great game. Clemson going down to Georgia Southern, I might have to go to that game. High Point,
Wake Forest. That's in Augusta. That game's in Augusta.
Oh, it's in Augusta. Dang it.
Which is a super cool ballpark.
Yeah. But like High Point easily could beat Wake Forest. High Point put up 32 runs in one game this weekend. Very often.
Dude, shout out to Coach Orndorff and Coach Hammond. They hit 11 home runs in one game. They had 18 on the weekend, for God's sakes.
Probably using those torpedo bats.
No, don't get me started. Dimitri, those cheating bastards in the Bronx. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are so soft. You guys
Ruining.
are such
No,
Ruining
no,
baseball.
just ruining the
Look at your
purity of our
face.
sport.
Look
I mean,
at
it's
that
disgusting.
nasty look on your face. Look at that nasty look on your face. Talking
I
about
mean,
the
no, I mean, like, no,
That's
seriously, like, yeah, we should have done this off the top for baseball fans. You think you can grow beards and now reinvent the baseball bat? No, it's nice to see the purity of the sport is gone by a bunch of losers in New York. Ugh,
Oh my God! Get some fucking
disgusting.
tissues. You are
Ugh,
rent free. Oh my
so
God!
disgusting.
Torpedo bats are so legal.
Yeah, you're right. It's been Yankee fans that have been swimming lap in Houston fans for the last 5 years, not the other way.
God,
Dude, I
Western
was
Kentucky is going to beat
so
Vanderbilt.
miserable.
uh
Miserable group.
Ben, I'm with you. I think if you take the March Madness theory and just do it this Tuesday, just hypothetically invest in every dog, I think you're gonna be cool this week.
Louisiana Tech, LSU. That's a good one. Lane Burroughs
Hey,
always has the boys ready for that game.
hey, are you guys gonna do a Club Omaha for the Hilltopper?
For the Hilltoppers, I mean,
You know,
I'm probably free tomorrow evening.
Ben,
If
you know what
Jack
we can
wants
do?
to do it.
I have a haircut at 7 o'clock. As you guys can tell, it's real bad right now. What about after? I mean, we got some killer late night games.
Yeah.
Arizona Grand Canyon at 9, Stanford at 9, Irvine at 9.
Texas
But
State,
you're right, I'm
Texas.
missing a. And then we could catch the
Texas
second
State.
half of these 7 o'clock games. That's an upset.
I mean, how long's your haircut? 45 minutes, so you'll be home 8 o'clock.
Top.
We'll be in the fourth inning.
I love it. Are we back?
I think we might be back. I don't want to tease it because we've ruined it a couple times, but
I know.
have your YouTube alerts turned on.
Yeah. No, we'll have a gut check decision by tomorrow, and then we'll tease it out, run it out. Miss the boys.
Nice. All right. Anything else before we hang up?
No, just we have 38 people still in the Survivor. I just want to self-promote my 30-10 record in the Pick'em this week. I think I'm kicking the shit out of both you guys, but that's about all I got.
Yeah.
You're 30-10.
Mm-hmm.
Golly, dude. Am I above 500?
What are you? I don't know what you are.
You were 500 going into the weekend. I think I had a brutal week.
Well, let's see. I was 17-17. UConn lost. Georgia won. UTSA won. Mississippi Valley won. Arkansas won 4-1, 4-2. So yeah, 21-19.
Shout out to Cole GBO, 33-7, good for first place. Actually tied with Ryland 270. They're both 33-7 in the Pick'em. Mapster 45, 30.
Ryland Zabrowski. What if he was in our Pick'em?
That'd be awesome. He's a mid-major guy.
Yeah.
4 people tied at 32-8, and then a bunch of people tied at 31-9. Dude, go. These guys need to make their own college baseball podcast.
All right. Well, we will be back Wednesday night, maybe Thursday, depending on our schedules. Appreciate everybody for listening, and enjoy a nice week of midweek baseball and a great weekend ahead. So goodbye, everybody.